Okay, folks, I'm starting to get crashes, but it's probably not necessarily EI's fault. I always have a lot of stuff going on my computer. But so anyway, let's deal with the hips, and I have just a very simple setup for an independent hip control, and I'm going to name this IND underscore hip. And now I'm going to link that to, in fact, no, I'm going to save this. IND hip. Okay. So it's very simple. And this is the real beauty of IK. First thing, I want to lock that to the base, and I want to lock everything to the base that we have assembled already. So now this is very good. So for our base to start to get some action here, I'm going to take the hip and 2 feet and link them all to the base. And now I'm going to take this root and then link that to the independent hip. Okay, and the independent hip I'm going to link to the center of gravity. That should be this one, right? And now we're going to rename this COG. Before I do it, I'm going to save it. And we're going to say COG in caps control. Okay, and first I'm going to link that to the base. So that's that. All of this is going down to the base. The feet onto the base. So the base should move everything. Okay? Because it'll be the first in the hierarchy, which is here. Okay, so that's everything starts to fall underneath that. And I'll save that. So most of the stuff so far is underneath that. And the independent hip is going to go to the COG here, and which is going to send the feet down, because you have all this hierarchy here, which is going to send the feet all the way down to the bottom. And there's that's not bad, so I'm going to save it. So now the way we rearrange that, now I'll explain it to you. We took all the controls, that means this, these are connected to here, and we took that and connected it to the base. And so if we unlock the base here, then all of this stuff should move. Okay? And rotate it as well. See? Okay? And we haven't gone into the upper assemblies. But the way we also done this is the center of gravity control here is directly underneath the base, and that's the next biggest controller. And now when we move that whole, the legs and the feet and all of that move with that. So that's really nice. And so, but when we do this, the top part of the body also kind of moves with that, and that's nice. Don't have a problem with that. Okay, but then, because of the way we have that independent connected, this controller, which is an independent hip, connected to there, there's in between the root and the base, the root and the center of gravity, there is this independent hip that's here. So now when we move this, that moves that. Now I forgot one thing. The spine has to go to the center of gravity. And so what happens now, again, this moves the whole top section. But now with this center, the way we have separated the spine and the independent hip, which is here, if there was a line going down, they will both be like siblings on the same one. So it almost makes this independent, but it makes it very independent. So now we have a separate control for the hips. And I didn't do this before, but now that I do it, I like it, and we have to be kind of careful about this. And we have to, we can move it around. So it's connected to this here, and then this is connected to there. So when we move this, then we have the extra control of moving the hips. Okay, and it gives us a little leverage. Okay, and so it's not perfect. You know, if we put another controller there, and you can keep putting controls and all this, and this can become very, very complex. We don't want to do all of that. You know, we can put a second control down here and move this top independent of this. And so we can do it. We can do it at any point that if you need it. But if you don't need it, don't just keep, rigging and miss your deadline. So this is just this. I didn't even have the independent hip before, and I was able to animate anything that I want. I did find that it was very simple control, so I added it to my ready rig sort of setup. It was just so simple to do. You have the main controller here, which you can still move, and then you have a little bit of extra control. Okay, so very, very nice. And if you want, you can put another one in here, which you can come back to, but we're not going to do that. Right, we might do that on the next one. I have to figure, but I'll figure that out. But I'm going to take a break right now, and basically, so we have this whole bottom assembly, which is very good, and a lot of control. Okay, for this. Now the only thing is that if you look at the control, it's around the center, and the top part of that is broken, and so it's not really moving like that. You can address that. We can go into it heavily. I don't know. There's ways to handle it, and I'll decide on the next one. Okay, but right now, remember, we're supposed to be walking, making this walk or pick up, and it has a lot of control to do that. Okay, so there's a lot of control there, and we don't want to, make it so that we can't. There's a lot of control in there. Okay, and again, we don't have to. It doesn't have to move like an exact human form. We have to be able to animate it. Two different things. Okay. All right. So save that, and that's the independent hip. And we'll come with dealing with the spine, and these controllers here we may start dealing with here, or we might go up in the arm. I'm not sure. Because I don't, it might be just good enough to just grab these and leave these. We don't have to necessarily have it. So we might just leave that just as it is. I think that's the easy, fast, and simple way. But as far as the rest of this down here, starting from where we have all this under the hip controls. Now remember, let's make these blue, not the root, because we're not going to really see this. We're going to set that blue. That is a controller that we can see, and the rest down here, which I may pull this back out, but right now, just so that we don't become so confused with all of this. Oops. Sorry. Okay. And then with these, we know where they are. We don't have to pull them out because we might come back into it. But just go ahead and decide the root. All of that. Let's hide that. Okay. So again, condensing down, there's our full controller. It's the end joint. We're not going to need this, wherever this is. Oh yeah, that's up at the top. This is the chest, but here's the hips and the feet here. And the root, we'll probably hide that too, but I'm going to probably come back on to that on the next video. Okay? Bye.